Dear ladies, hold your hearts. This tale will clutch you and never let go. A tycoon, shattered by his son's paralysis, roams Chicago's gleaming streets, his wealth a hollow echo. His boy, once full of life, sits silent in a wheelchair, tracing cracks in the pavement, hope a dying ember. Then, from an alley's shadow, a small girl emerges, her shoes taped, her eyes ancient. I know how to make your son walk again. A trick? A fantasy? Her voice, firm as stone, carries a truth no doctor can touch. In a secret room, an old woman hums a melody older than memory, her hands sparking life where science faltered. But who is this girl, and what price does her gift demand? In Chicago's raw heart, this saga of loss, faith, and miracles will flood your eyes. Seize those hankies. You're in for a journey of raw emotion. Chicago's skyline sparkles, a citadel of glass and steel, but its alleys fester, dark arteries where the city buries its unseen. Clark Street buzzes with taxis, suits, and neon, yet behind its polish, shadows pool. Garbage bags sag against battered bins, the air thick with rust and yesterday's rain. Edward Marshall, 42, once hailed as Chicago's visionary by Forbes, pushes a wheelchair through this underbelly, his sleek loafers scuffing on cracked pavement. His real estate empire turned decay into billion-dollar vistas, but now his world shrinks to the soft hum of wheels, replacing his son's strides. Jacob, 12, sandy hair messy, sits wrapped in a worn bear's blanket, his eyes locked on sidewalk cracks, counting them like they hold meaning. 18 months ago, a ski slope in Aspen stole his legs, AT6 vertebral fracture, spinal cord trauma, permanent damage. Edward's fortune, his clout, his will, none can fix what broke. Edward's face, once alive with drive, is carved with sorrow. His navy suit, bespoke and crisp, feels like a shield against a world that whispers pity. Jacob's silence weighs heavier than the city's din. No chatter, no pleas for pizza, just a boy who's forgotten how to hope. Edward's faith, once his engine, is now his tormentor, each specialist's impossible a blade in his gut. They cross an alley, one Edward's passed countless times, but today a voice pierces the noise. A girl's, small but steady. Sir, I know how to make your son walk again. Edward halts, his grip tightening on the wheelchair's handles. He expects a grifter, a con hawking false cures, but a child steps from behind a dented bin, 10, brown skin, big brown eyes carrying a depth beyond her years. Her hoodie's frayed, jeans smudged with grime, shoes patched with duct tape, but her stance is firm, her voice unshaken. Excuse me, Edward asks, irritation blending with disbelief. I can help your son, the girl repeats, stepping closer. My name's Mira Cole. I live in the church shelter on Wells. I saw you yesterday. He looked sad. Jacob glances up, not with fear or pity but curiosity, his first flicker in weeks. Edward frowns. You've been watching us? Mira shifts. Just a bit. I sit on corners. Most hurry by, but you stopped, picked up his cap. I thought you'd listen. Edward's doubt clashes with Jacob's gaze. My son's injury isn't sadness, he says, voice sharp. It's neurological. His spine's shut down. Myra's eyes hold steady. My grandma said sometimes the body stops 'cause the heart's weary. Edward opens his mouth to brush her off, but Jacob's voice, soft and rare, cuts in. Dad, can we just see? Edward exhales, his chest tight. Jacob hasn't asked for anything in months. Not games, not stories, nothing. Now he's asking to follow a barefoot girl from an alley. If anything feels off, Edward says, we're gone. Jacob nods, a faint twitch at his mouth. Not a smile, but close. Follow me, Mira says, turning. They weave through Chicago's forgotten streets, away from Michigan Avenue's shine to where buildings slump, windows boarded, air sour with rust. Edward hesitates, maneuvering Jacob's chair over broken bricks, glass glinting like shards of bone. Something keeps him going. Myra's calm, Jacob's hope, or his own exhaustion. They reach a courtyard behind crumbling brownstones, ivy strangling a wooden door. Mira pushes it open. No knock, no key. Into a room lit by sunlight piercing a holy ceiling, smelling of lemon balm and old books. A woman sits on a worn rug, her silver hair in a tight bun, her skin dark as Myra's, etched with 65 years of life. "Wondered when you'd bring him," she says to Mira, her voice smooth as river stones. Edward stiffens. "How did you know?" She smiles. "I don't see the future, sir. I see pain, and it walked through my door." Jacob leans forward. "Who are you?" She kneels beside him. "Miss Clara, just someone who listens. May I touch your knees?" Jacob looks to Edward, who nods, heart pounding with skepticism and a spark of hope. Clara's hands, rough and warm, rest on Jacob's knees. Her eyes close, a soft hum rising. A melody old as wind, tender as lost lullabies. Jacob jerks. "I felt something, like soft lightning." Edward leans forward. "What do you mean felt?" Clara opens her eyes. "His body remembers more than he thinks." Edward scoffs. "That's not science." She nods. "Science doesn't sit with a boy who feels invisible." She turns to Jacob. "Want to try standing?" Jacob swallows, nods. She supports him, his legs wobble, arms tremble. Edward lurches, but her raised hand stops him. Jacob's left foot shifts, then his right. He stands shaky, frail, but upright. Edward falls to his knees, eyes burning. "Jake! Oh God, Jake!" Jacob's grin, hesitant but real, shatters Edward's world. The room fades. Broken windows, drafty ceiling, ancient rug. All vanish before the boy standing on trembling legs. Mira stands quiet, hands in her sleeves, eyes calm. Not triumphant, just still. Clara steps back, her face serene, like she's witnessed this 100 times. Edward, tears streaking, turns to her. "How? I need to understand." Her gaze holds. "The body obeys the heart more than we admit. Your son stopped believing. Today, he trusted what he couldn't see." Edward shakes his head. "That's not healing." His words falter. She smiles. "Tell me, then, how do you explain this?" He can't. He turns to Mira. "Who are you, really?" Mira brushes a curl from her cheek. "Just a girl who heard stories. My grandma raised me when no one would. She said people don't need fixing, just reminding they're not broken." She kneels by Jacob. "I was born with a twisted ankle. Kids mocked, adults stared. Couldn't run. Then Grandma sat me on this rug, hummed like today, said, 'Stand if you can.' I did. Never limped again." Jacob's eyes widen. "It worked." Mira nods. "I never limped again." Edward asks, "Where's she now, your grandmother?" Myra's smile fades. "Gone. Stroke. A year ago." Her voice cracks, her only sign of grief. "They put me in foster care. I ran after 3 days. Nobody believed her stories, called her a fraud. So I live, shelters, bakeries, streets." Edward's heart sinks. "You shouldn't live like that. You're a kid." Mira shrugs. "Lots of us are. Streets don't care." Edward's torn. His wealth, his world, feels empty against Myra's truth. "I want to help," he says. "A home, education, safety." Mira shakes her head. "This is where I'm needed, corners where hope's lost. That's where Grandma said healing starts." Edward pulls a business card, embossed and crisp. "If you need help, call. Day or night." Mira takes it, tucks it away. Jacob grabs her hand. "Will I see you again?" She smiles. "If you stop believing, I'll be near." Clara speaks. "Go." The boy's taken his first step. Now he must walk his road. Edward pushes the chair, Jacob walking a few paces, leaning but moving. Chicago's skyline glows as they return, Jacob's eyes alight, Edward's heart heavy with a warmth he can't name. But Myra's world doesn't shine. She slips back to alleys, shelters, her hoodie a shield against the cold. She hums Clara's tune to kids like her. Forgotten, hungry, invisible. A shadow watches. Miss Karen Holt, 40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes, a caseworker with a clipboard like a weapon. "You can't keep running, girl," Holt says, her voice cold. Mira bolts. She's seen foster homes, their sterile rules, their promises that break. Edward, in his condo, can't shake Myra's face. He vows to find her, to repay her gift. But Chicago's streets are a labyrinth, and Myra's a ghost. A secret hums beneath. Clara wasn't just a healer. She led a network of women, saving kids the city discards. Myra's their heir, her tune a beacon, but it draws danger. Holt, the system, and a past Edward can't yet see. Chicago's heart beats loudest in its quietest places, and this saga of loss, faith, and defiance is just beginning. Chicago's streets pulse with a relentless rhythm. Neon flickers, horns blare, and the wind off Lake Michigan carries a chill that bites deeper than the cold. Edward Marshall, 42, navigates this glittering maze, his penthouse a sterile refuge from a city that no longer feels like his. His son, Jacob, 12, once tethered to a wheelchair, now takes halting steps, each one a defiance of the doctor's grim verdict. A T6 vertebral fracture, permanent damage. The spark came from Mira Cole, a 10-year-old girl from the alleys, her taped shoes and steady voice offering what billions couldn't. Hope. But Myra's gone, a ghost in Chicago's underbelly, and Edward's vow to find her clashes with a world that doubts her gift. Mira, dodging shelters and shadows, hums her grandma's tune to kids the city forgets, unaware that her light draws danger. Miss Karen Holt, a caseworker with a clipboard like a guillotine, and a secret tied to Miss Clara's past that could break them all. Edward's condo, all glass and chrome, feels colder since Jacob stood. He watches his son practice steps across the hardwood, each wobble a miracle, each grin a knife twist of gratitude and guilt. "You're doing it, Jake," Edward says, voice thick. Jacob, sweat on his brow, nods. "Mira said I could." Her name lingers, a puzzle Edward can't solve. He dials the number on the card he gave her, nothing, just static. He calls shelters, soup kitchens, churches on the south side, his polished voice out of place. A girl, 10, brown skin, big eyes, hums a tune, he says. Some recall her. "Kind kid, helped my boy eat." But no one knows where she is. She comes and goes. A volunteer at a youth center on Ashland mutters, "Like a shadow with a heart." Edward's frustration grows. He's built skyscrapers, but can't find one child. Jacob's progress fuels Edward's obsession. Therapists at Lurie Children's Hospital, once resigned, now scribble notes as Jacob describes tingling in his thighs, strength in his calves. Psychosomatic response, one doctor muses, or dormant motor function reactivated. Another adds. Edward snaps. It was her touch, her song. They exchange glances, curiosity, skepticism, dismissal. He stops explaining. What matters is Jacob's steps, not how they began. At home, Jacob draws. Myra's face, her hoodie, her smile. On sketchpads, his fingers steadier each day. "We gotta find her, Dad," he says, eyes fierce. Edward nods. "We will." But Chicago's streets are a labyrinth, and Myra's a wisp, slipping through cracks. Mira, 10, moves like a shadow, her hoodie a cloak against the city's gaze. She sleeps in church basements, bakery backrooms, or under bridges when the shelters feel too close. Her grandma's tune, soft and ancient, spills from her lips as she kneels by kids like her. Hungry, scared, invisible. At a shelter on Roosevelt, she sits with Jaden, 7, who hasn't spoken since his mom vanished. Mira hums, her hand on his, not asking, just being. Jaden's fingers twitch. A word escapes. "Thanks." She smiles. "You're not broken." But Miss Karen Holt watches, her suit crisp, her eyes cold. "Mira Cole, you're a ward of the state," Holt says, her voice like ice. "Stop running." Mira bolts, heart pounding. She's seen foster homes, their locked doors, their promises that choke. Holt's clipboard holds her file. Runaway, delusional, claims healing powers. Mira knows the system doesn't believe it breaks what it can't control. Edward's search takes him to Chicago's edges. Englewood, Austin, streets where his wealth feels like a target. He asks vendors, buskers, kids with wary eyes. A hot dog seller near 63rd Street nods. Saw a girl like that, humming to a kid who was crying. Gone by dawn. Edward leaves his card, his number, his plea. At a board meeting, his partners, sleek suits, sharper ambitions, notice his distraction. Ed, focus, says Claire Voss, his CFO. The Riverwalk deal's slipping. Edward's jaw tightens. My son's walking. That's what matters. Claire's eyes narrow. Because of some street kid? Come on. Edward storms out, her doubt fueling his drive. He hires a PI, Tom Rourke, grizzled and blunt. Finding a kid in Chicago's like finding a needle in a haystack fire. Rourke warns. But I'll try. Jacob's school, an elite academy in Lincoln Park, buzzes with his return. Kids stare as he walks, slow, leaning on a cane, but walking. His coach, Mr. Perez, claps. Spring track? Jake, you in? Jacob grins. If I can run. At home, he practices squats, his bear's blanket a cape. But nightmares creep in. Falling, wheels locking, Myra's voice fading. She's out there, right, Dad? He asks. Edward lies. Yeah, buddy. His search intensifies. Rourke traces Mira to a bakery on Southport. Its owner, Mrs. Lena, admitting. She sleeps in the back sometimes, leaves bread for other kids. Edward waits there, dawn to dusk, but Mira doesn't come. Lena sighs. She's a ghost, Mr. Marshall. Helps, then vanishes. Myra's world darkens. Holt's team, caseworkers, cops, tighten their net. At a shelter on Loomis, Holt corners her. You're not safe out here, Mira. Mira hisses. I'm not safe with you. She slips through a back door, her tune faltering. She finds refuge in Miss Clara's room. It's lemon balm sent a bomb. Clara, 65, her bun tight, kneels. You're carrying too much, child. Mira trembles. They'll lock me up, Miss Clara. They don't believe. Clara hums. Your grandma believed. So do I. She reveals a truth. Her sister, Myra's grandma, led a network. Women in alleys, shelters, churches, saving kids the system failed. You're her heir, Clara says. But it's dangerous. Mira nods. I won't stop. Edward's PI digs deeper, uncovering Myra's file. Foster care, runaways, notes on her delusional claims. Rourke snorts. Kid's got a rap sheet for hope. But he finds a lead. A nurse, Miss Sarah, at a clinic on 47th Street, treated Mira for a cut last month. Edward meets Sarah, her eyes kind but tired. Mira helped a boy here, hummed to him when he was scared. He slept after weeks of nightmares. Edward's heart leaps. Where is she? Sarah shakes. She doesn't stay. Edward leaves his card, his desperation growing. At home, Jacob's steps falter. He trips, sobs. What if it stops? Edward holds him. It won't. We'll find her. Holt's pursuit escalates. She raids a shelter where Mira was spotted, her team tearing through bunks. Mira hides in a dumpster, her breath shallow, her tune a whisper. She remembers Clara's words. The network's secret, women like us, healing where no one looks. But Holt knows more than Mira thinks. Her grandma's work threatened the system, drew enemies. Holt's not just a caseworker. She's tied to a politician, Alderman Crane, whose campaign thrives on cleaning Chicago streets. Myra's a threat, a kid who defies their narrative of control. Holt's file grows. Mira Cole, disruptive influence, possible cult ties. Mira, unaware, hums to a girl, Tessa, 6, who hasn't eaten in days. Tessa smiles. Myra's light burns, but it's a beacon for Holt's wrath. Edward's search collides with his world. At a gala, Chicago's elite sip champagne while Claire whispers. Ed's chasing a fairy tale. Edward ignores her, but Crane, the alderman, overhears. Street kids are a problem, Crane says, eyes sharp. We're fixing that. Edward's unease grows. Crane's fix feels like a threat. Rourke calls. Found a woman. Miss Clara, linked to Mira. Runs a weird room in Englewood. Want me to check? Edward drives himself, heart racing, to Clara's courtyard. The door's locked, the room empty. No lemon balm, no rug, just dust. A neighbor, Miss Ruth, 70, mutters. Clara moves when trouble's near. She helps kids, always has. Edward begs. Tell her I'm looking for Mira. Ruth nods. She'll know. Jacob's dreams darken. Myra's face, Holt's shadow. He draws her in a storm, her hoodie torn. She's in trouble, Dad, he says. Edward's resolve hardens. He'll find Mira, not just for Jacob, but for her. Mira, in an alley, hums to Jaden. Unaware Holt's team is blocks away. Clara's warning echoes. You're not just a girl, Mira. You're a spark. Chicago's tides churn. Edward's wealth, Jacob's steps, Myra's tune, Clara's secret, Holt's hunt. All collide. A storm brewing where hope and danger dance. Chicago's pulse quickens as winter looms. Its skyline a cold crown over streets where hope frays. Edward Marshall, 42, chases a ghost. Mira Cole, the 10-year-old whose tune sparked his son Jacob's steps after a year of paralysis. Jacob, 12, walks stronger daily. His cane a relic, but his dreams darken with Myra's face, torn and fading. Mira, a shadow in alleys, hums her grandma's melody to kids the city forgets, dodging Miss Karen Holt's relentless hunt. Holt, 40s, isn't just a caseworker. Her tie to Alderman Crane, a political titan, hides a deeper game. Miss Clara, 65, Myra's guide, holds a secret. Her network of women, born from her sister's vision, heals where systems fail, but it's a beacon for enemies. As Edward's search closes in, Myra's light burns brighter, and a truth erupts, tying their fates to a past that could save or destroy them all. Edward's search consumes him. His condo, once a sanctuary of glass and steel, feels like a cage. He pores over Rourke's reports, shelter logs, Myra's foster file, whispers of a humming girl. She's a myth. Rourke grumbles, but Edward snaps. She's real. At Lurie Children's Hospital, Jacob's therapists marvel. His calves flex, his thighs respond. Unprecedented, Dr. Patel says, but Edward credits Mira. Jacob, sketching Myra's hoodie, pleads, find her dad. She's scared. Edward's heart twists. Jacob's nightmares mirror his own. Myra's voice fading in rain. He visits the Southport bakery, Mrs. Lena's eyes soft. Mira left bread for a kid yesterday, then gone. Edward waits, dawn to dusk, his suit rumpled, his hope fraying. A note in Lena's trash, Myra's scrawl. Keep humming, Jaden, is his only lead. Mira moves like a whisper, her hoodie a shield against Chicago's bite. She hums to Tessa, 6, in a shelter basement, her tune easing the girl's hunger. You're not broken, Mira says, but Holt's shadow looms. At a dockside soup kitchen, Holt's team raids. Mira Cole, you're coming with us. Mira slips through a window, heart racing, her tune a lifeline. She reaches Miss Clara's new hideout, a boarded-up church on 47th Street, its pews dusted with snow. Clara, her bun tight, kneels. You're in deep, child. Mira trembles. Holt knows too much. Clara's eyes darken. My sister, your grandma, built this network to save kids like you. Holt's boss, Crane, wants it crushed. Mira gasps. Why? Clara sighs. Power. We defy their control. Edward's PI, Rourke, digs into Clara. She's a ghost too, he says, handing Edward a photo. Clara, younger, with a woman resembling Mira. Her sister, Alma, Myra's grandma, ran a shelter in the 90s, helped runaways. Died in 24. Stroke. Edward's pulse quickens. Myra's carrying her work? Rourke nods. And trouble. Alderman Crane's name keeps popping up. Funding cuts to shelters, raids on street kids. Clara's crew's a thorn in his side. Edward visits Miss Ruth, the Englewood neighbor. Clara's gone, Ruth says, but slips him a key. Check her old room. She trusts you. Edward returns to the courtyard, the ivy-covered door creaking open. Inside, a notebook, Clara's handwriting. Alma's dream. Save the unseen. Myra's the spark, but Crane's closing in. Myra's world phrase. Holt's raids intensify shelters, churches, alleys. At a bus stop, Mira hums to Jaden, 7, his eyes brighter since her tune. Holt's car screeches up. Enough running! Mira bolts, Jaden's cry echoing. She hides in a dumpster, her breath shallow, her tune faint. Clara finds her, eyes fierce. You're not just Alma's heir, Mira. You're her fire. Clara reveals, Alma's network wasn't just charity. It challenged Crane's gentrification, his clean city campaign that erased the poor. Crane framed Alma, Clara says. False charges, shut her shelter. I kept it alive, but Holt's his blade. Mira shakes. I'm just a kid. Clara grips her. You're enough. Edward's gala life unravels. At a Riverwalk fundraiser, Claire Voss sneers. Ed, your street kid obsession's tanking our deals. Crane, sleek in a tux, overhears. Charity's noble Marshall, but kids like that belong in homes, not alleys. Edward's gut churns. Crane's smile is a mask. He leaves, driving to Clara's church. Inside, he finds Myra's drawing, herself, Jacob, a storm. Clara appears. You're close, Mr. Marshall. Edward begs. Where's Mira? Clara's eyes soften. She's hunted. Help her. You help us all. She hands him a list, names, addresses, women in Alma's network. Find Miss Sarah, the nurse. She knows Myra's path. Jacob's progress stalls. Nightmares grip him, Mira drowning, Holt's clipboard snapping shut. He trips at school, his cane clattering. I'm losing it, Dad. He sobs. Edward holds him. You're not. Myra's out there. Jacob's sketches pile, Mira in rain, Clara's bun, Holt's shadow. At therapy, Dr. Patel warns, stress could regress him. Edward's resolve hardens. He'll find Mira for Jacob, for himself. Rourke traces Sarah to a clinic on 63rd. Edward meets her. Mira was here last week, humming to a scared kid. Sarah's eyes flicker. She's special, but Holt's close. Edward pleads. Tell me where. Sarah whispers. Try the docks. She feeds kids there. Mira, at the docks, hums to Tessa, slipping her bread. Holt's team strikes. Cops, flashlights, shouts. Mira runs, her hoodie snagging on a fence. She escapes, but Tessa's caught. Mira, help! Myra's heart breaks. She can't go back. Clara relocates her to a safe house. A basement on Austin Boulevard. Its walls lined with Alma's photos. This was her fight, Clara says, showing Mira a letter. Crane's deals, land grabs, shelters raised. We're the resistance. Mira reads, her fear shifting. Grandma fought for us? Clara nods. Now you do. Mira hums, stronger, but Holt's net tightens. She knows Myra's tune, her haunts, her light. Edward follows Sarah's lead, staking out the docks. He sees Jaden, 7, alone, clutching Myra's bread. She was here, Jaden says, eyes wide. They almost got her. Edward kneels. Where's she now? Jaden shakes. Don't know. She hums. Makes me feel okay. Edward's throat tightens. He gives Jaden his coat, his card. Rourke calls. Holt's no caseworker. She's Crane's fixer, buries his scandals. Alma's network threatened his empire. Edward's blood runs cold. Myra's not just a runaway. She's a target. He finds Clara's safe house, its door locked. A note, Myra's scrawl. Keep going, Mr. Marshall. His hope surges. She knows he's close. The twist unfurls. Holt's hunt isn't random. Crane's campaign, funded by developers, needs Mira silenced. Alma's network exposed his land grabs, rallied communities. Holt, once Alma's ally, betrayed her for Crane's coin, framing her shelter's closure. Myra's tune, her axe, revive Alma's fight, drawing Crane's wrath. Clara's notebook names Holt's crimes, forged reports, Kids vanished into foster mills. Edward, clutching it, vows. Myra's not alone. Jacob, sketching Myra's face, says, she's like us, Dad. Fighting. Mira, in the basement, hums to herself, Clara's words echoing, you're the spark. Holt's team closes in, Crane's shadow looms, and Chicago's quietest heart beats louder, a storm ready to break. Chicago's winter bites, its winds howling through alleys where hope clings like frost. Edward Marshall, 42, stands on the edge of a truth that could shatter his world or save it. Mira Cole, 10, the girl whose tune woke his son Jacob's legs, is the heir to a network defying the city's cruelest powers. Jacob, 12, walks with a fire no doctor can explain, but his sketches scream Myra's danger. Mira, dodging Miss Karen Holt's hunt, hums her grandma's melody in Chicago's shadows, her light a beacon for kids like Jaden and Tessa. Miss Clara, 65, guards a legacy. Her sister Alma's network, a resistance against Alderman Crane's empire. As Holt and Crane close in, Edward's search, Jacob's hope, and Myra's courage collide, forging a reckoning that will echo through Chicago's quietest heart. Edward's resolve burns. His condo, a sterile fortress, hums with purpose. Clara's notebook, its pages naming Holt's crimes, lies open on his desk. He meets Rourke at a diner on 63rd Street, the PI's eyes grim. Crane's untouchable, Rourke warns. Holt's his shield, forges files, buries scandals. Myra's a threat to his clean city scam. Edward slams the table. She's a kid. Rourke slides a USB. Recordings from a shelter worker. Holt bribing cops to snag runaways. Edward's jaw tightens. He'll expose them. For Mira. For Jacob. At home, Jacob sketches Mira in a church, her hoodie glowing. She's close, Dad, he says, his cane aside, his step steady. Edward nods. We're bringing her home. Mira, in Clara's Austin Boulevard safe house, hums to Tessa, 6, her tune easing the girl's fear. Clara kneels. Holt's coming, Mira. Crane wants you gone. Myra's eyes blaze. I'm not running. Clara hands her Alma's locket, a photo inside. Alma, Clara, a young Holt. Karen was ours, Clara says. She betrayed us for Crane's money. Mira clutches it. She won't stop me. Clara's network rallies. Sarah, the nurse. Lena, the baker. Ruth, the neighbor. Women who've saved kids for decades. They plan. Hide Mira, expose Crane. Mira hums, her fear forging into fire. For Grandma. But Holt's team raids a nearby shelter. Jaden's cry, Mira, piercing the night. Mira slips out, heart pounding, to save him. Edward tracks Clara's list, finding Sarah at her clinic. Myra's with Clara, Sarah whispers. Holt's got eyes everywhere. Edward begs. Get me to them. Sarah nods. Meet me at the docks midnight. Edward tells Jacob. Stay with Lena. Jacob shakes. I'm coming, Dad. For Mira. Edward relents. Jacob's fire mirrors Myra's. At the docks, Sarah leads them to Clara's church, its stained glass dark. Inside, Mira hugs Jacob. You're walking. Jacob grins. You said I could. Edward kneels. Mira, you're safe now. Mira shakes. Not yet. Holt's close. Clara appears. Crane's endgame is tonight. He's raising shelters for condos. We stop him or Myra's fight dies. Holt strikes. A SWAT team storms the church, flashlights slicing the dark. Mira Cole, surrender. Holt snarls. Mira bolts, Clara shoving her to a trapdoor. Run! Edward grabs Jacob, Sarah leading them through a tunnel. They emerge in an alley, Mira trembling. They got Tessa. Clara's eyes steel. We'll get her back. Edward's USB burns in his pocket. He calls a contact, Laura Tate, a journalist at the Tribune. Crane's dirty, he says, sending the recordings. Laura's voice crackles. This is big, Ed. Meet me at City Hall, Dawn. Edward nods. Myra's fight is his now. Clara rallies her network. Women flood the streets, whispering Crane's crimes to vendors, cabbies, pastors. Mira, Edward, Jacob, and Sarah hide in Lena's bakery, its ovens warm against the cold. Mira hums, calming Jacob's shaking hands. "I'm scared," she admits. Jacob grips her. "We believe you," Edward vows. Crane's done. Lena slips them bread. Clara's calling in the old guard. At dawn, they reach City Hall, Laura waiting with a recorder. Mira speaks. "Crane takes our homes, locks us up. My grandma fought him. I will too." Laura's eyes widen. "This'll break him." But Holt's team arrives, Crane at their helm. "Arrest them," Crane orders. "Conspiracy, fraud." Edward steps forward. "You're the fraud." He plays the USB Holt's voice, bribing cops, naming Crane's deals. The crowd, reporters, protesters, gasps. Clara's network strikes. Ruth, 70, testifies. "Alma saved my girl in 92. Crane shut her down." Sarah adds, "Mira healed a boy at my clinic, no charge." Lena shouts, "She feeds our kids." A man steps forward, Dr. Ellis, 50, once Alma's patient. "Her network saved me from the streets," he says. Crane framed her. His file, Alma's letters, Holt's forgeries, seals the case. The mayor, cornered by cameras, orders Crane's arrest. Holt lunges. "Myra's a liar." Mira stands. "I'm Alma's fire." Holt's cuffed. Crane's empire crumbles, and Chicago's women cheer. Sarah, Lena, Ruth, a chorus of grit and love. Myra's safe house becomes home. Edward offers, "Live with us, Mira. Your family." Mira hesitates, then nods. "But I keep humming." Jacob grins. "Deal." Clara smiles. "Alma sees you." The network rebuilds. Shelters open. Kids like Jaden and Tessa find beds. Edward funds it, his wealth a tool, not a shield. Jacob runs track, his cane gone. His sketches now bright. Mira under a clear sky. Mira, 11, paints. Chicago's alleys, Clara's church, Alma's locket. Her art shown in community centers, healing her scars. 15, she leads a youth group, humming to kids who feel broken. Jacob, 16, joins her, his voice strong. "You're enough." Edward, 46, watches, his condo warm with their laughter. Years later, Chicago's docks bloom. Parks, not condos, thanks to Clara's fight. Mira, 20, unveils a mural. Alma, Clara, kids under a glowing skyline. "We stood," she tells Edward. "Even when it hurt." Edward nods. "You're my miracle." Jacob, 21, hums her tune, teaching it to a new generation. Their home, a brownstone with Lena's bread on the table, echoes with Alma's dream. Myra's last canvas reads, "We sat through storms, and each was home." Chicago's heart, loudest in its quietest places, beats on. A story of loss, defiance, and love, whole at last.